Hey neighbor, thanks for tuning in to this special episode of 17 on Sunday. Today I'm looking at killer title tracks from albums, which is an idea that I've wanted to do in some form for years, but I didn't want it to just be as simple as, hey, here's a great title track. I'm sorry to ask so early on, but videos like this struggle to get picked up in the algorithm, so if you could just take a quick second to hit the like button and maybe even drop a comment with any thoughts that you have on the list, I'd really appreciate it, thank you. To briefly explain the gist of what I'm going for here, I want these to all be title tracks that I feel serve as the perfect gateway drug to the full album surrounding it, or maybe it's that the titular song actually feels representative both musically or lyrically of what the entire record is going for. In order for something to qualify, first, of course, I have to like the song and the album it comes from. The titles have to be a word-for-word exact match to actually be a title track. For example, Welcome to the Black Parade would not count for the Black Parade. And finally, like I said, the title track needs to feel in some way like it represents the full album's tone. On a sidewinding adventure through the evils and triumphs of California, what could possibly better express that collision than Californication? This is the Red Hot Chili Peppers on fucking fire, as the title track rides out for 4 mind-blowingly good verses, capturing all new angles of the band through a familiar lens that paved the way for an incredible roller coaster of an LP.
Hey, blue, there is a song for you to ink on a pill underneath the skin.
Joni Mitchell's Blue gives you exactly what its title would imply. Melancholic shades of brutal honesty as represented by the color blue. This was the early 1970s, so singing the blues wasn't some unheard of expression, but most had never done it in the way that Joni Mitchell did. Morose, beautiful caveats from the soul sting deeply over these haunting piano keys. And the lyrics are really jarring at first, but in a good way. They're definitely not what you'd probably expect, but Joni was right in stating that songs are like tattoos because her music is written all over the skin of multiple generations.
Let freedom be. Land of the free, home of the strange.
I wasn't crazy about the title track finale, Home of the Strange, back when Young the Giant dropped this phenomenal album in 2016, but since then, I've changed my mind. Home of the Strange is as bizarre as our country's values, and America at all ages is exactly what they explored from the inside out. Rambunctious programming kickstarts an intentionally bumpy ride, but you really come to appreciate that shift from groovy bass to soaring flames thanks to their frontman Samir Gaudia. The striking difference between verse and chorus isn't subtle at all, yet it's somehow that much better for simply following the music instead of tradition.
Hear them praying. There's bodies in the
That album cover though, holy shit, that just needs a spotlight. Breathe it in. Anyways, how about some politics for dinner? Everything made them on a silver platter, so dig in before the takes get cold. This is a very, very British album, but I love that their frontman Jonathan Higgs made it feel just universal enough to make it relatable, plus the music is consistently phenomenal, with the sardonic title track being no exception. With a stitched-in interpolation of a Talking Heads track and a sunny disposition to its guitar tone, I'd say you get the perfect balance between dark and light, because those lyrics are a doozy in the best way.
And here everyone knows you're the way to my heart. Here's so many stories of you at the bar.
Gushing emo folk anthems carve up your heart like a pumpkin on Phoebe Bridgers' stellar album Punisher. When listening, you'll hear traces of her musical idols like Elliott Smith to her own bandmate Julian Baker, and although the title track is a slowing down of time, it's not a blockage of momentum at all. Razor-sharp insight bonds with an ocean of string-filled sadness, giving you the feeling of floating in a canoe in the middle of a body of water with nothing but the stars to guide you back home.
Oh, you gotta keep me strong. Move along like I know you do.
The All-American Rejects hit their peak with a record about finding your purpose in life, dealing with the punches you're dealt, and learning to pick your battles. And the title track is a cut above the already high standards they introduced, sailing in with that instantly recognizable drum beat and a blend of buzzy riffs to rumbling bass that crystallizes in the mix. Move Along roars with an insane amount of life, especially on that chorus. It's one of the best of the 2000s, so whether you find yourself ugly crying, remembering the hard times it got you through, or just belting it out word for word because the lyrics never left your head, one thing's for sure, and it's that this was straight up spiritual enlightenment to every scene kid turned adult out there.
Oh, drink a bit of wine, we both might go tomorrow.
Brilliance died young with the mesmerizing talent Jeff Buckley, with fate only allowing him a single completed album before his untimely death in 1997. But that one album grace is represented in immaculate fashion by its titular moment, a spine-tingling confession of love so overpowering, you lose control and have no choice but to submit to your heart's calling. Fear might exist in some way, but with how furious literally everything about this song gets, from Jeff's out-of-this-world vocal showing to the non-stop movement of the drums and those riveting mountains of guitars, consider the feeling exercised like a demon.
Tranquility base, hotel and casino.
The misunderstood genius of the 6th Arctic Monkeys record lies in the fact that so many people took it at face value, as if there wasn't a surrealist layer of irony basted over the entire stay. Tranquility-based Hotel and Casino lets its title track look directly into the camera, shattering the fourth wall as a rising crescendo of bass, harpsichord, and keys propel Alex Turner's sly societal takes to the site of the lunar landing. It's a cornerstone of the record, and in fact, I'd say the album would be unhinged without it. Tangible joy radiates from nearly every particle beam Carly Rae Jepsen fires on Emotion, an artistic breakthrough of an LP if I've ever seen one, an LP that pops off at all the right times. Emotion rides a wave of nostalgia with a flirty twist. Bodacious bass rhythm set off that pendulum, but it's that tantalizing breeze of a hook that rips the bottle cap off the serotonin and chugs it straight to the bloodstream. Look, I gotta talk about this where I can, because With Teeth got me into Nine Inch Nails, and it seems like it divided their fan base, since Trent Reznor was a pretty mainstream figure at this point. But come on! This is an all-star production crew, and also the first appearance of the crucial future member Atticus Ross! Our title track carries the torch for the album's core musical inertia, with scaly guitars descending to chilling programming, and also a hell of a metaphor for drugs disguised by an infatuation with a person. It's one of my favorite cuts on With Teeth, mainly because it digs in with exactly what its name would imply. Ah, yes, existential nihilism. I remember my first time. It's the backbone of growing up, I guess, and young rising stars The Strokes brought it directly to the table on their opening track to their debut album, with the chorus simply wondering out loud, is this it? Look at it like a cautionary tale of going out on the town too often, or else doing the same thing over and over, or even with the confines of a relationship. The record goes on to detail these fractured states with a sense of skepticism and irony, but it's hard to deny how effective they were at stapling these ideas right out of the damn gate.
And when it all burns down, will you carry me over? We don't have to fix everything at once. We were never broken, life's just very long. Brave faces, everyone.
What a massive send-off for one of the best emo albums ever written. Raw anguish rips your heart straight from its chamber as Spanish love songs dissect the emptiness eating away at our fractured mental state in the modern world. Yet its title track takes everything we inherited, whether that be depression or financial ruin, and it swallows that tough pill while embracing the collapse. The brighter, more pop-punk instrumental smashes into a reality check, that being the one where sometimes we have to face our fears, put on a brave face, and make the best out of an existence that we never asked for. Madonna's Like a Prayer came out in 1989 and was a much more mature presentation from an artist that so many had just seen as a passing dance fad for the teenagers. The Queen of Pop was a rebel, but instead of just being a provocative one without a cause, she really dove into it with the spectacular title track opening the book as anything but your typical pop affair. For Christ's sake, Prince plays guitar and it's nearly 6 minutes long. Madonna has never sounded more poised as she explores the parallels of her religious upbringing to her villainized sexuality. So when you magnetize that to a series of pace changes and a wicked good bubbly synth-pop hook with gospel-soaked vocals backing her, you've got none other than my favorite Madonna song, period. As Brandon Flowers himself put it, this is the Killers' way of coming out guns blazing, album 2, just unapologetically letting it fly, and good God, do they crush it! This is representation for small-town America. Flowers and company grew up in small areas in the Las Vegas suburbs, and the title track from the record gives a voice to those dreamers that can't wait to take the world by storm. It's a massive tune, sparkling with gliding riffs and show-stopping synths, so naturally Sam's Town is a perfect precursor to a magical sophomore outing. Why are we even here? Every human runs that thought through their head at some point, and Soundgarden's most well-known album is named after that exact confusing feeling. We're alive in the Superunknown, but we, as in you watching this right now, are also alive at a time where Chris Cornell pondered aloud that same question not that many years ago. This record was known for its dark passages and morbid sense of humor, along with the grungy metallic guitars that made them a force to be reckoned with. Thanks to that, and of course the voice of a higher power, Chris Cornell, both of which are here in spades. The guitar solo at the end of the track is incredible, and even though the lyrics are relatively simple, there's a way that Chris makes it so effective. And it's true, no one sings like you anymore, Chris. The title track captures that talent in a bottle and puts it on the shelf where it's gonna live on forever.
I always believed in futures. I hope for better November.
A smile as big as the Grand Canyon takes over my face the second I hear the opening riff to Futures, because not only are they the first notes of the song, it's the welcome mat to the entire album. Jim Adkins is an absolute madman for being such a legendary emo frontman who also happens to believe in optimism, and there's no better showcasing of this melting pot of feels than the title track to their 2004 LP. Change the way you look at things and things will change is the Spark Notes version of the lyrics. Not that they're implying change is easy, but a little bit of work collectively goes a long way. Even tossing the lyrics aside, this is a banger with ungodly amounts of energy, yet they still find the time to salt the rim with the unfortunate truth that sometimes all we can do is just get by until the next one.
How I wish you were here. We just two lost souls swimming in a fishbowl, year after year.
This song crumbles emotions like a wrecking ball through a brick house. Pink Floyd's uncanny ability to express so freely and artistically became their calling card through the decades, so make no mistake about it. While this song certainly does hit a little bit harder in the context of the record, and in knowing that it was written for their former member Syd Barrett, it also stands alone as one of the greatest songs ever recorded. I don't think you can properly explain how hard that chorus hits when they finally let those pent-up emotions overflow. It's such a plain phrase in and of itself, how I wish you were here. But as always with art, it's the way they frame it that makes it bulletproof. That's a wrap on title tracks that represent the full album perfectly. I truly hope you enjoyed this one. If you did, please like this video and comment down below with your thoughts on any of my picks. Don't forget to follow the Spotify playlist that I linked down there. My socials are down there as well. And also, you can see a few recent episodes of this show floating on screen now. Peace, neighbors. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon on ARTV.